Chapter 301 Zhou Yun advances to the nascent soul stage. In the Wanxiong Tianheng Palace, Fairy Xia put on her clothes and walked out of the room with stiff steps. The five elements Dao ancestor lay on the bed with a gloomy face, still unable to suppress his anger even after venting his frustration. Damn it! The five elements Dao ancestor looked up at the void. One phoenix cloud god emperor is troublesome enough, and now a divine phoenix has been born. Why do you always defy me? Can't you just obediently follow the orders of my myriad manifestations' heavenly balance palace? His body trembled slightly, and only a hint of fear flashed in his eyes. There's not enough time, they're coming soon. As the number one person in Xiantian, he naturally knew some of the unknown secrets hidden in the Xiantian cultivation world. The figure that once appeared from beyond the heavens, shrouded in golden flames, cast an indelible shadow upon him. He frantically improved his strength because he didn't want to be overshadowed by anyone anymore. No one is allowed to be above us. The Western regions, now the headquarters of the Holy Lotus sect. Recently, a stranger arrived. The visitor was none other than Wu Ming. Amitabha Buddha, Wu Ming greets your excellency. Wu Ming nodded and bowed politely. After returning to the boundless cloud sea, I told my master about what I had seen and heard at the Pengyun auction, and then I was assigned a task. The mission was to come to the Holy Lotus sect and assist them in spreading Buddhism in the Western regions. Wu Ming originally had no objection to this. However, after seeing the blood lotus, he felt a great deal of unease. As soon as he got close to the other party, the subtle, yet palpable, sense of being devoured made him extremely uncomfortable. This is a complete demon. How could anyone expect him to spread Buddhism? Master, are you sure you're not mistaken? When Xiuxian saw the other party, a look of surprise flashed across her face. There are actually Buddhist cultivators of your caliber in the Western regions? Wu Ming's body stiffened slightly. He had already seen the Western regions as it was now, all along the way. He also knew that this was entirely caused by the other party's own efforts. Striving to remain calm, he slowly began to speak. This humble monk comes from the boundless cloud sea of the Western regions. The boundless cloud sea has been secluded from the world for millions of years, and has only a handful of disciples. He glanced at the other person and said in a detached tone, "Sit." In the past, he might have devoured the other party without hesitation, since in his eyes, there were no good Buddhist cultivators. But now, he has changed. I don't know if it's because of Lin Xiaoxiao's influence, but my heart has become much gentler. Thank you. After sitting down, Wu Ming stated his purpose directly. This time, I am here on my master's orders to assist the Holy Lotus sect in spreading Buddhism. Help me spread Buddhism? Xiuxian asked, her voice full of doubt as she looked at Wu Ming with confusion. Wu Ming nodded, and a flash of light appeared in his palm. Numerous jade slips and books floated in front of him, exuding a faint Buddhist and Taoist charm. Blood Lotus glanced at them and was immediately certain that these were pure Buddhist cultivation techniques, exactly what the Holy Lotus sect lacked most. He didn't take it immediately, but looked at Wu Ming instead. He still hasn't figured out the other party's true intentions. Seemingly sensing what Xiuxian was thinking, Wu Ming quickly explained, "It really is just to promote Buddhism, and there is no other purpose." Blood Lotus pondered for a moment and nodded in agreement. He really had no reason to refuse. He needed the essence of Buddhism and Taoism, and Lin Xiaoxiao also needed the essence of Buddhism and Taoism. Promoting Buddhism is exactly what he wants to do. He then summoned Fat Tuor. A moment later, a plump figure rushed in, head bowed, and said respectfully, "Greetings, Lord Blood Lotus. What are your orders?" Xiuxian pointed at Wu Ming. "He's in your hands now. You can decide what happens next yourselves." "Yes." Pang Tuor secretly glanced at Wu Ming and felt a faint pressure emanating from him, which made his heart tighten. "Well, looks like my status has dropped again." Xiuxian looked at Wu Ming and thought for a moment. "From now on, you will be the Grand Elder of the Holy Lotus sect. Don't bother me unless it's absolutely necessary." Upon hearing this, Wu Ming suddenly looked up. I still have. What? Wu Ming was about to refuse, but when he met Shuai Lian's scarlet eyes, he swallowed back the words he hadn't yet uttered. Yes, I will do my utmost to promote Buddhism and carry forward the Holy Lotus sect. Blood Lotus waved her hand. Watching the two figures disappear into the distance, a barely perceptible smile appeared on his lips. Now that you're here, make the most of your time and energy within the Holy Lotus cult. Then his figure disappeared, and when he reappeared, he was in a secret room that was heavily protected by an array. At the center of the formation, Lin Xiaoxiao's figure was enveloped in a dense golden Buddhist light, and the black patterns covering her entire body had dimmed considerably. A hint of tenderness appeared in his blood-red eyes as he silently sat cross-legged beside the great formation, guarding it. The divine phoenix appears in the world, and the Shen Tian realm undergoes a strange transformation. None of this mattered to him. The only thing he cared about was the girl in the great formation. Inside the Pengyun space, all the creatures within stopped what they were doing, their faces showing surprise and doubt. Bang, bang, bang. A series of soft yet powerful tapping sounds echoed faintly in the space, like a beating heart. What's going on? I don't know, but after staying in Pengyun space for a long time, these anomalies have become normal phenomena. Look, the speed of spatial expansion has increased. Not only that, the concentration of spiritual energy in the surrounding area is also increasing. At this moment, the entire Pengyun space seemed to suddenly come to life, rapidly growing and transforming. Above Fox Mountain, Yuan Shi was outside the gray mist barrier, chatting with Yu Tong. Suddenly sensing the anomaly in the surrounding space, she excitedly exclaimed, "Sister Yu Tong, Master is about to break through." Yu Tong pouted. "Isn't it normal for Master to break through? Why are you making such a fuss?" "Of course I'm happy for Master." Yuan She turned to look at Yu Tong, her face full of doubt. "Sister Yu Tong, aren't you happy for Master?" Yu Tong stiffened her neck and said, Of course I'm happy for my master." "Then why don't you smile?" Yu Tong was furious, cursing under her breath. "You stinky master, you wicked master. Sister Yu Tong, you must cultivate diligently. Yuan Shi is going to see her master." After saying that, Yuan Shi disappeared without a trace. Only Yu Tong remained, floating in the air, looking utterly alone. As the light streaked across the sky, everyone rushed to Zhou Yun's residence to congratulate him on his successful advancement. Uncle Zhou slowly stood up and straightened his clothes. Looking in the direction of Zhou Yun, his face was full of a gratified smile. Young Master's breakthrough to the nascent soul stage is a major event for Pengyun space. I can't fall behind these little guys. Upon arriving at the Bamboo Grove courtyard, Jiming, Yuanqi, Qi Xiao, and others were already there. They waited quietly outside, their eyes respectfully fixed on the room where Zhou Yun was. Uncle Zhou smiled and nodded, then called everyone over and quietly arranged the tasks. Immediately, everyone got busy. Prepare a banquet to celebrate Zhou Yun's advancement. Chapter 302 Pengyun's Metamorphosis, Strengthening the Jade Eyes. At this moment, above the Pengyun space, the laws of the Tao intertwined, like colorful clouds, dyeing the sky into a magnificent silk cloth. Night and day alternate endlessly, a sky full of stars hangs down, and abundant spiritual energy from heaven and earth flows into the ground. All living beings within this space were deeply moved by this scene, which resembled the beginning of time. They all began to sit cross-legged, cherishing this rare opportunity, and calmly sensing the Taoist charm and laws permeating the surroundings. Fox Mountain, with its jade eyes trapped by the grey mist, gazes at the laws manifesting in the sky, its eyes gleaming with a lively and cunning light. Humph, I'll definitely break through quickly this time." Yu Tong calmed her mind and focused her spirit, sensing the changes in the laws, and spiritual energy continuously gathered around her. As if sensing Yu Tong's movements, the spiritual energy and Taoist principles surrounding her became even stronger, as if taking special care of her. At this moment, Pengyun space is undergoing a silent transformation, and the entire space is shrouded in tranquility and peace. Time passed slowly, and after the strange phenomena in the sky dissipated, many creatures gradually awoke. His eyes were full of excitement. What exactly is going on? It feels even more powerful than the phantom sea opportunity at the previous auction. It's different. The illusory sea opportunity mainly improves cultivation, but this time it seems to be more random. My cultivation level has broken through, but I've managed to suppress it. I have perfected the technique and raised it to the earth level. Everyone looked shocked and began to recount what they had learned. Looking around, everyone noticed that the island in the middle of the lake had expanded more than 100 times compared to before, and the lake beside them had expanded to the point where it seemed to stretch as far as the eye could see. If they hadn't known beforehand that it was just a lake, they would have thought it was a mysterious sea. In the lake, 3 or 4 meter long spirit fish would occasionally leap out of the water. They were also beneficiaries of the transformation of the Pengyun space, and their strength had improved considerably. The mountains that were once faintly visible in the distance were now completely hidden in the clouds and mist, with only their massive outlines vaguely discernible. Occasionally, flashes of inspiration would appear, and spiritual energy would rise from the mist, all demonstrating the extraordinary nature of Pengyun space. Those cultivators who entered the Pengyun space earliest were the most deeply moved. When they first entered, they couldn't believe that the Pengyun space was so simple and unpretentious. Now, with its abundant spiritual energy, vibrant life, and manifest laws, the Pengyun space truly matches their impression of it and resembles a sacred cultivation ground. Although they did not know what had happened in Pengyun space, it must have undergone a crucial transformation. At the same time, I am also happy about the transformation of Pengyun space. After all, those who possess the Pengyun token are, in a sense, already bound to Pengyun. As the Pengyun merchant ships grow more powerful and mysterious, they will reap even greater benefits. In the bamboo grove courtyard, Zhou Yun pushed open the door and came out. He had already sensed the arrival of everyone. He glanced at everyone, smiling, and said, "Thank you all for your hard work." "Greetings, young master." "Greetings, master." The crowd surrounded Zhou Yun, cheering and welcoming him. Uncle Zhou stepped forward and said happily, "Young master, this way please, everyone has prepared a feast for you." "Okay." Zhou Yun nodded and, surrounded by everyone, walked to the main seat and sat down. Looking at the sumptuous feast in front of him, Zhou Yun couldn't help but swallow. "Everyone, please sit down." Zhou Yun looked at everyone, pausing for a moment on Uncle Zhou's face. "We still have to rely on Uncle Zhou. It seems like it's been a long time since we've all gotten together," Zhou Yun thought to himself. The banquet began in a lively atmosphere, and everyone enjoyed this rare moment of gathering. The newcomers, Lu Ling and Yuan Shi, were a little reserved at first, as it was their first time attending such a gathering. But after 2 cups of spirit wine, he finally blended in with everyone. Suddenly, a heart-wrenching wail echoed from above. "Ah, ah, ah. You all had a party and didn't even wait for me." A white streak of light flashed through the air, and Yu Tong's figure appeared in the courtyard. Zhou Yun glanced at Yu Tong, and after sensing the other party's cultivation level, nodded in satisfaction. He was naturally aware that Yu Tong had broken through to the nascent soul stage. After all, he would naturally sense that the restrictions he had set up had been broken. Moreover, Yu Tong's breakthrough was, in his view, a matter of course. Just as Pengyun was undergoing his transformation, Xiaobai was still taking care of her. If she still couldn't break through, then Zhou Yun would definitely lock her up for 10,000 years. Master, Yu Tong has finally broken through." Yu Tong leaned forward and blinked her eyes. "You must continue to cultivate diligently, and your cultivation level must not fall too far behind everyone else." Zhou Yun looked at Yu Tong, his tone carrying a hint of intimidation. "If I find that your cultivation level has fallen too far behind, then I will have no choice but to lock you up again." Zhou Yun sipped his spirit wine, his eyes slightly narrowed as he stared at the figure with jade pupils. "Ah." Yu Tong shuddered and retreated several steps, quickly assuring him. "Don't worry, master, I will definitely work hard to cultivate from now on." He turned and ran away in a hurry, then approached the creatures, including Jiming. They grabbed each other's antennae and started playfully fighting. Their little tricks naturally didn't escape Zhou Yun's notice. Yutong was simply warning the other members not to cultivate so diligently. It seems that this solitary confinement has really made Yutong suffer. After the banquet ended and everyone tidied up the courtyard, Zhou Yun asked Lu Ling, Yuan Shi, and Yutong to stay behind. However, the other members did not leave immediately and stayed to join in the fun, which Zhou Yun did not refuse. "Do you know why I kept you here?" Zhou Yun asked the three of them. I know, Yutong exclaimed excitedly. As a long-time employee of Pengyun Space, it naturally understood its master's capabilities and envied the transformation of Jiming and the others. Moreover, she had already decided what she wanted. "Then you can start," Zhou Yun said, looking at Yutong. Yutong immediately jumped out and said coquettishly, "Master, I want to have the ability to quickly improve my cultivation level just by lying down." Upon hearing this, Zhou Yun's lips twitched, and he looked at Yutong with a helpless expression. "Are you going to make a wish here?" Ignoring the other party, I mainly introduced the abilities that Lu Ling and Yuan Shi wanted to inherit, emphasizing that they should silently imagine the abilities they wanted to inherit. Yuan Shi and Lu Ling looked confused, not quite understanding what Zhou Yun meant. "You go first." He summoned Yutong to his side, and golden patterns appeared on his palm, enveloping Yutong and eventually forming a golden cocoon of light. He didn't have any particular expectations for Yutong. After all, Yutong is an auctioneer, and her role is different from Jiming and the others, so Zhou Yun will not have any other additional requirements. As for her wish to improve her cultivation level while lying down, let's hope it comes true. According to Zhou Yun's understanding, abilities that one does not possess are difficult to acquire through enhancement. After all, enhancement doesn't come from nothing. Chapter 303 Jade Sleeping Fox. Zhou Yun is surprised. Zhou Yun looked at Yuan Shi and Lu Ling beside him. "Is there anything else you don't understand?" Lu Ling shook her head, her face full of excitement, and rubbed against Zhou Yun repeatedly. The master has already explained it very clearly. After the transformation, it may be able to enhance the Bai Zhe bloodline it inherited, and even become a more powerful being than its father. However, Yuan Shi frowned slightly and asked the question that had been bothering her. "Master, I have a problem with my constitution, and I'm not a spirit beast either." A smile appeared on Zhou Yun's face, and he said gently, "This is a way to solve your problems completely in one step." Upon hearing this, Yuan Shi did not question it, and a look of excitement flashed in her eyes. In the past, she relied on sleeping and sealing to slow down the loss of life. If it weren't for her uncle using the resources of the Tai Heavenly Palace to nurture her life force, she might have already exhausted her lifespan and ceased to exist in this world. She wanted to cultivate and become stronger. From the moment she arrived at Pengyun merchant ship, she clearly sensed the wonder of this place. Now that her master says he has a solution, she naturally believes him. "Come over." Zhou Yun waved to Lu Ling. Stroking the other's head, he gently advised, "There's more than one path. Although the divine beast Bai Zhe is powerful, you still have other choices. It mainly depends on yourself, understand?" Although Zhou Yun hoped that Lu Ling would inherit abilities that would benefit the development of the space, he ultimately did not force the little guy to do so. Now that it has been integrated into the immortal realm, the development of Pengyun space has far exceeded expectations. He hoped that Lu Ling would have her own choices, rather than being trapped by the Bai Zhe bloodline she possessed. The mythical beast Bai Zhe is naturally powerful, but there may be beings in the world even stronger than Bai Zhe. Lu Ling nuzzled Zhou Yun's hand affectionately, a faint glint of light flashing in her eyes. "Strengthen." Zhou Yun silently chanted in his mind. Dense golden array patterns intertwined, enveloping the dear spirit's figure. Stroking the golden cocoon of light, Zhou Yun sighed inwardly. "It seems you already made your choice." From Lu Ling's eyes, Zhou Yun had already seen the other party's choice. In the little guy's heart, no matter how strong the other path was, it couldn't compare to the divine beast Bai Zhe. Inheriting the bloodline of Bai Zhe and taking pride in the glory of their ancestors is great. He stood up and approached Yuan Shi. You possess demonic energy and spiritual power. Do you have any preferences? Upon hearing this, Yuan Shi stood there stunned, her eyes filled with confusion. The image of her uncle flashed through her mind, his eyes filled with complex emotions as he looked at her. She knew about her birth. Her uncle had never hidden it from her. She knew that her uncle resented her mother, and that she was also a child who was not recognized by Tai Palace and was not liked by her uncle. Tears welled up in her eyes as she looked up at Zhou Yun. Master, can you remove the demonic energy from my body? I want to become a normal human being. She hated the demonic energy within her. If possible, she would like to dig them all out of her body. Zhou Yun looked at Yuan Shi's determined gaze and nodded. Maintain this unwavering resolve. Remember that. Zhou Yun instructed, then silently recited. Strengthen. When the golden light enveloped Yuan Shi, Zhou Yun breathed a sigh of relief. He stepped back a few paces and sat down on a chair. He accepted the tea and said, Thank you, Uncle Zhou. Looking at the 3 golden cocoons, Zhou Yun's eyes were full of anticipation, and his gaze lingered on Yuan Shi for a moment. I originally intended for you to be the manager of Pengyun's City of Desire, but now it seems. When he first met Yuan Shi, he had already made a plan in mind, and so did Lu Ling. However, the enhancement of the deer spirit may not have a significant impact, and it will still be very beneficial to the development of Pengyun space. On the contrary, Zhou Yun wanted Yuan Shi to retain her demonic energy aspect, and even to strengthen it. Using the power of the annihilation demonic qi to devour all things, he became the demon emperor who controlled desires. But when he saw the resolute light in her eyes, he couldn't bear to force Yuan Shi to make a choice that went against her heart. That's good, Pengyun merchant ships doesn't need so many rules. A purple thunderbird flew onto Zhou Yun's shoulder and rubbed against his cheek. The other friends also gathered around, and the area suddenly became lively. Master, what will they transform into? Could it be a mythical beast? Master, I have something to complain about. Just now, Sister Yutong threatened me and told me not to cultivate. Yes, I was threatened too. Everyone was chattering away in his ears, and he had long ignored them. This time, Zhou Yun was extremely patient and played with them. His gaze occasionally drifted to the golden cocoon of light not far away, but he shook his head slightly inwardly. He was extremely aware of his own enhancement abilities. The probability of high multiplier enhancement was too impressive. Of the 3, he favored Lu Ling the most. No matter what, this little guy inherited the bloodline of Bai Zhe, a spirit beast of heaven and earth, and his own fortune is astonishing. This might really bring about a huge transformation. As for Yu Tong, the chances of realizing that almost impossible wish are slim. Yuan Shi, as long as the physical problems can be resolved. Once the physical problems are resolved, Yuan Shi should be able to unleash the extraordinary talent she was originally destined to possess. Her mother was a goddess from the ancient Tai heavenly palace, so one can imagine her extraordinary talent for cultivation. Yuan Shi only needs to inherit her mother's talent for cultivation, and she will have a path to enlightenment in the cultivation world. A burst of golden light erupted, and one of the golden cocoons shattered, drawing everyone's attention. Seeing the figure in the golden light, he shook his head almost imperceptibly. Just as he expected, the first one to complete the enhancement was Yu Tong. Xiaobai's voice also rang in my ears. Congratulations, Master, on completing the triple enhancement and obtaining the 4th-tier spirit beast, the Jade Sleeping Fox. Upon hearing Xiaobai's voice, Zhou Yun's lips twitched slightly. Looking up at the white fox that was faintly visible in the golden light, I wondered if it had really been enhanced. The bloodline did not improve at all. It remained at the same grade. I clicked to view the relevant information about Yu Tong. Name: Jade Eyes. Type: Jade Sleeping Fox. Rank: 4th-tier Spirit Beast. Talent: Moonlit Grotto, capable of absorbing the power of moonlight and constructing jade-like patterns to create a blessed grotto. Within this blessed land, the jade sleeping fox's strength can be continuously enhanced. Details: this seemingly gentle and cute little fox shouldn't be disturbed while it's sleeping. It actually works. Zhou Yun stared wide-eyed at Yu Tong's figure, his eyes filled with disbelief. Just how lazy must this guy be, and how deep must his obsession be, to have developed this talent? Young master, what's wrong? Uncle Zhou rarely saw his young master in such a state, and wondered what had happened. Zhou Yun waved his hand and looked helplessly at Yu Tong. It's nothing, I just felt that this little guy is quite hard-working in some aspects. However, the enhancement of Yu Tong also gave Zhou Yun a new understanding of his own abilities. It turns out that reinforcement, to a certain extent, has already acquired creative capabilities. Chapter 304 Returning to the Origin Holy Spirit Body, Heavenly Fortune Spirit Lord. A white fox, 1 meter long, walked with elegant steps out of the golden halo, its eyes sparkling with lively light. He looked down at himself and nodded with great satisfaction. Noticing everyone's gaze, Yu Tong jumped and leaped in front of Zhou Yun. Master, I really succeeded. At the moment of transformation, Yu Tong learned about her own talent from the inherited memories. As long as the moonlit cave is constructed and continuously improved. After that, she can continuously improve her strength as long as she stays in the blessed land. If she goes into a deep sleep, she can absorb spiritual energy even faster. Bang! Seeing the other person's happy expression, Zhou Yun couldn't help but give her a hard knock on the head. Seeing this, the other children all shrank back. Master! Why did you hit me? Yu Tong turned her head to the side, scratching the spot where she had been hit with her front paws, feeling wronged. Get out of here! Zhou Yun rudely tossed her aside, not wanting to pay any attention to this lazy fox. The other little ones gathered around Yu Tong. Sister Yu Tong, you've become so beautiful. Yes, the fur is as pure as moonlight, it feels so nice to touch. Sister Yu Tong is the most beautiful. Suddenly a deep voice rang out. But I don't think anything has changed. She doesn't even seem as cute as before. The surroundings immediately fell silent. Yu Tong's white fur stood on end as she looked toward the figure that had made the sound. Its body transformed into a white light, lunging towards its opponent. Zhou Yun ignored their playful fighting and focused his attention on Yuan Shi and Lu Ling. Young master, when will the Pengyun space be renovated? He was already aware of the young master's idea to transform Pengyun space, and he wholeheartedly agreed with it. The current Pengyun space is too monotonous. It's time to enrich its functions. Once Lu Ling and Yuan Shi have completed their transformations, we can begin the modification process, Zhou Yun said softly. This time, as he advanced to the nascent soul stage, the Pengyun space also perfectly integrated with the immortal realm heart, thus perfecting the small world. Now is the best time to make changes. He turned to look at Uncle Zhou. Uncle Zhou will be very busy once the Pengyun space renovation is completed. This is what this old servant should do, Uncle Zhou said with a smile. It is this old servant's honor to witness the growth of Pengyun merchant ship. Suddenly the light in front of them disappeared again. As Zhou Yun had expected, the second person to complete the transformation was Yuan Shi. It seems that little Lu Ling is truly blessed with good fortune. A voice from Xiaobai rang in her ears. Congratulations, master, on completing the quadruple enhancement. Yuanqi has exorcised the demonic source and awakened the returning origin Holy Spirit body. As the golden aura dissipated, a pure and gentle halo spread out from Yuan Shi, plunging the surrounding space into an extreme tranquility. Upon seeing this, Zhou Yun's pupils contracted slightly. He could sense the power of Yuan Shi's physique. Fortunately, they were in the Pengyun space. If they were outside, everything around them would probably be reduced to nothingness. The aura emanating from Yuan Shi was her own domain. The domain is a concrete manifestation of the physical order. Returning to the source, returning to the source. What a wonderful return of all things to the source. Zhou Yun sighed inwardly. Yuan, she slowly opened her eyes, feeling the pure and immaculate body, and tears welled up in her eyes. That's all, really, that's all. Yuan Shi's body trembled slightly with excitement. The despised demonic energy of annihilation had completely vanished. She looked at Zhou Yun gratefully and bowed deeply. Thank you, Master. She knew that it was her master who gave her a chance to be reborn. Zhou Yun smiled and nodded. It seemed that letting Yuan Shi make her own choice was the right thing to do. He reached out and opened the back end to check Yuan Shi's information. Name: Yuan Shi. Race: human. Constitution: returning to the Holy Spirit body. Effects: absolute purification, returning all things to their origin. It forcibly decomposes all things, restoring them to the most primordial spiritual energy of heaven and earth. It is a ruler of order comparable to the Tao of heaven, possessing no offensive power, yet more terrifying than any attack. The details are enhanced through the Mother's innate bright moon Holy Spirit body. She is the creator of order, and anything that defies her will be reduced to nothingness. TSK. After reading the introduction, Zhou Yun couldn't help but sigh that Yuan Shi's physique after her transformation was too extraordinary. In contrast, Zhou Yun once again felt disgusted with Yu Tong in his heart, an unambitious guy. Reaching out to touch his chin, Zhou Yun pondered deeply, a strange light flashing in his eyes. It seems like making Yuan Shi the manager of the City of Desire isn't out of the question. After learning about Yuan Shi's physique, Zhou Yun's heart stirred slightly, and this thought resurfaced. The body of the Holy Spirit is different from the other purified bodies. Other purification-type constitutions can only purify demonic energy, evil energy, curses, and other filth. The returning to the origin. Holy Spirit body, however, reshapes and decomposes, causing all things to perish and transforming into the most primordial spiritual energy of heaven and earth. Just as Zhou Yun was still pondering, the strange phenomenon coming from ahead startled him awake. Above, auspicious clouds of blue, gold, and purple gathered, their spiritual energy flowing and showering down nourishing rain to sustain all things. Centered on the deer spirit, ripples of emerald green spread outwards, leaving lush grass and blooming flowers wherever they passed, making the already vibrant space even more verdant. In the void, two great paths, one emerald green and the other ethereal and invisible, intertwined and took shape, with golden lotuses emerging to celebrate the birth of the deer spirit. Zhou Yun looked into the void, as if sensing something in his heart. It symbolized the two great paths of life and fortune, controlled by the deer spirit. Little White's excited voice rang in my ears. Congratulations, Master, on completing the Tenfold enhancement and obtaining the divine beast, Heavenly Fortune Spirit Master. The golden halo in front dissipated, and its appearance was not much different from before. The only difference was that three mysterious blue patterns appeared on both sides of his body, and his whole body radiated a pure halo. As it took its steps, green light shimmered beneath its feet, the surrounding air became fresher, and the vegetation became even greener. She came up to Zhou Yun and rubbed her hand against his palm. Zhou Yun's eyes held a gentle smile as he reached out and stroked Lu Ling's head. I took the opportunity to look up its related information. Name: Lu Ling. Type: Heavenly Fortune Spirit Master. Level: Divine Beast. Talent: Blessed Land. Wherever he goes, it becomes a blessed land. Abilities: Auspicious Embodiment, blessed with good fortune. Favored by the Great Tao, always able to turn misfortune into good fortune and find a glimmer of hope in desperate situations. Good fortune is shared, and misfortune is avoided. It can enhance the fortune of the area and dispel bad luck, ensuring that the user is not troubled by misfortune. A celebration of life, a revival of all things. It can communicate with all things, greatly accelerating the growth of mountains, rivers, and vegetation, and its location is conducive to the birth of spirits and monsters. Details: It is an auspicious creature, a child of nature showered with blessings. Its very existence brings beauty to the world. Excellent. The future development of Pengyun space will depend on you. Zhou Yun patted Lu Ling's head, his eyes full of satisfaction. Chapter 305 Pengyun Development, City of Desire. Yo-yo. The deer spirit let out a clear cry and leaped about joyfully like the wind. A green aura flowed beneath its feet, emanating a pure aura that attracted the attention of many companions, especially Jiming and others who danced gracefully around the deer spirit. Zhou Yun did not disturb everyone and disappeared into the courtyard with Uncle Zhou. When they reappeared, the two had arrived above the myriad realms guiding instrument, taking in the entire Pengyun space. Young master, what is this? Uncle Zhou asked, looking down in confusion. Of course it's about modification. Upon hearing this, Uncle Zhou immediately became interested and turned to look at Zhou Yun. Young master, where should we choose the address? The Pengyun space is now more than 100 times larger than before. Zhou Yun shook his head slightly, reached out and made a sweeping motion in front of him, and a long black crack appeared in front of the two of them. Zhou Yun led Uncle Zhou inside. In a dimly lit space, a grey mist drifted around. Uncle Zhou stared at the scene before him, momentarily stunned, then a sense of familiarity rose in his heart. I still remember the first time I entered the Pengyun merchant ship with the young master. The interior was the same then. Zhou Yun's palm flashed with spiritual light, and the surrounding grey mist surged up, rushing outwards like waves, causing the space to expand continuously. In the grey mist, mountains, rocks, and rivers slowly formed, and houses appeared in a staggered pattern. In the middle stands a tall tower made of black stones, majestic and imposing. The vast space was dark, filled with wisps of grey mist, creating an oppressive atmosphere. Even the rocks and vegetation were greyish-black. Leading Uncle Zhou along the grey-black road, we arrived at the square beneath the black tower. The plaza was vast and deserted, more than enough to accommodate millions of cultivators. Zhou Yun looked around and with a thought, hundreds of black stone pillars carved with rock patterns rose up around the plaza, their tops burning with grey flames, becoming the only light in the space. Wisps of grey mist swirled around the pillar, continuously supplying it with energy. A 3-meter-high altar appeared in front of the black tower, with mysterious array patterns engraved in the center of the altar. There were 7 steps on each side, and Zhou Yun walked up step by step. The two stood in the center of the formation, and Uncle Zhou asked curiously, "Young master, what is this?" "This is the beginning of depravity." Upon hearing this, Uncle Zhou's expression became even more confused. "This is the entrance to the City of Desire." Zhou Yun turned around and looked up at the black tower. "From here, you can climb up step by step and enter that seemingly endless hell." Then he looked in the other 3 directions. Of course, the other 3 directions are left for the cultivators to explore on their own. Pushing open the black tower's gate, a dark opening appeared before them, like a gaping maw of a predatory abyss. Stepping inside, the surroundings were empty. Uncle Zhou turned to look at Zhou Yun. "I wonder how the young master will arrange it. Let's keep it simple." Zhou Yun thought for a moment, a playful smile appearing on his lips. Instantly, the grey mist spread out like ripples, intertwining and condensing into hundreds of sets of black stone tables and chairs, neatly arranged in the space. Uncle Zhou looked up, his expression somewhat surprised. He felt a strange sense of familiarity with the patterns on the tables. "Isn't this the setup inside a casino?" Uncle Zhou exclaimed in surprise. He was very familiar with those gambling tables marked with big and small, but he couldn't understand why the young master had arranged them this way. After all, cultivators have much stronger mental fortitude than ordinary people and are rarely addicted to gambling. Not bad." Zhou Yun clapped his hands, quite satisfied with his masterpiece. In his view, this was merely a beginner's field, simply to allow the creatures entering this place to get used to the basic rules. Betting on big or small is the perfect way to play. They left the Black Tower with Uncle Zhou. "Young master, isn't the top still unprepared?" Uncle Zhou asked, looking at the black tower whose top was not visible. Zhou Yun waved his hand. No rush, let me think about it first. Then he looked at Uncle Zhou and introduced him to the development of this place. The only thing Pengyun space is responsible for is this black tower. Then, looking at the other houses outside, he continued. Those places are reserved for the cultivators themselves. They can live there and run their own businesses. Pengyun will not interfere. Ah. Uncle Zhou looked at Zhou Yun in confusion. Young master, are we just going to give them away for free? Of course not. Zhou Yun's voice rang out softly. Pengyun will adopt an elimination system. If a company's revenue is at the bottom for a consecutive year, it will be eliminated, and Pengyun will take half of its profits. Uncle Zhou nodded upon hearing this. I think the young master's decision is excellent. Only through competition can the most profitable shops be selected. Suddenly, a look of doubt appeared on Uncle Zhou's face. Just say it. Young master, but I'm afraid not many cultivators can get in using just the Pengyun token. According to the young master's idea, it will definitely require the support of a large number of cultivators. Currently, there are probably only a few hundred cultivators who have obtained the Pengyun token. With only a few hundred cultivators, it would be difficult to support the establishment of this city of desire. At that time, the number of shops they open will probably exceed the number of cultivators. A strange smile appeared on Zhou Yun's lips. I was aware of that, and I was prepared for it long ago. Cultivators with the Pengyun token can enter this place, but more ordinary cultivators can also enter. This will be the place where most cultivators defy fate and change their destiny. Uncle Zhou was still puzzled when he heard this. Zhou Yun led him directly to the bow of the Pengyun merchant ship. In the void, the Pengyun merchant ship was moving rapidly, but it was not affected in the slightest by the turbulent void currents. This is the entrance to the City of Desire. Not inside the Pengyun space? Zhou Yun shook his head and looked into the void. In the future, this place will become the place to guide all the spirits of Shen. When will we open? Uncle Zhou asked softly, also looking forward to what the young master was going to do next. His main curiosity was about what Pengyun merchant ship would eventually become. In the meantime, let's head to the eastern region as soon as possible. We can begin once we've settled Lu Ling's companions in. Zhou Yun looked in the direction the Pengyun merchant ship was sailing. Such a vast area in the eastern region is a waste to leave empty. Let's make it Pengyun's development ground. Uncle Zhou's eyes lit up. This was indeed a good idea. Yes, young master. Uncle Zhou readily agreed. If the Pengyun merchant ship travels at full speed, it will arrive in a short while. The young master wasn't in a hurry, which is why he drove so slowly. Now that all the miscellaneous matters are resolved within Pengyun space, it is indeed possible to quickly finalize the subsequent matters. Young master has advanced, and Yu Tong, Yuan Shi, and Lu Ling have all completed their transformations. It's time for Pengyun merchant shipping to take the next step in its development. Chapter 306 Ancient Emperor's Secret Realm. Pengyun arrives. In the future, the Pengyun merchant ship will be divided into two areas. A paradise on earth, a city of desires. Those who possess the Pengyun token can enter freely. However, cultivators from outside can only enter the city of desire. This can be considered as Zhou Yun reserving some power for the holder of the Pengyun token, but after the city of desire opens, the advantage gained by relying on the Pengyun token will be quickly reduced. It might even be surpassed. After all, desire can devour a person, but if used well, it can also make a person successful. Pengyun space aims to make it clear to all cultivators that even a salted fish can turn its life around. Following Zhou Yun's orders, the Pengyun merchant ship sped up considerably, reaching the eastern region in just 3 days. At this moment, at the bow of the Pengyun merchant ship, Zhou Yun was standing on the deck with Uncle Zhou and Lu Ling, gazing at the endless sea. Where is the ancient emperor's secret realm you are in? Zhou Yun turned to look at Lu Ling and asked. Lu Ling looked at the sea, blinking her bright eyes, which were filled with confusion. It grew up in the secret realm, and the only place it had ever been was the Pengyun space. How could it know where the ancient emperor's secret realm was? Seeing its bewildered eyes, Zhou Yun guessed that the little guy probably didn't know either. He whispered, "Activate the Pengyun Token and return to the secret realm. We'll be there in a bit." Oh. Lu Ling nodded obediently. "Although I don't understand the meaning behind Zhou Yun's words, I'll just do as he says." As Lu Ling activated the Pengyun Token, his figure disappeared from the spot. Uncle Zhou took out the control jade plate for controlling the Pengyun merchant ship. A light screen appeared in the sky, and Lu Ling's Pengyun Token was displayed in the light screen. "Young master, we've found it. Okay, let's go then." Guided by the deer spirit, a ripple spread through the void, and the Pengyun merchant ship immediately disappeared into it. Within the ancient emperor's secret realm, the deer spirit appeared, leaping joyfully across its familiar territory. They went straight to the old ginkgo tree and excitedly called out, Grandpa Tree, wake up." Hearing Lu Ling's cheers, the surrounding friends gathered around, and when they looked at Lu Ling, a look of surprise flashed in their eyes. "Lu Ling seems to have changed. You smell even better now. Dear spirit, what's wrong with you?" A friend approached it and asked curiously. "It feels so comfortable to be next to Lu Ling. My body is all warm and cozy." At this moment, the old ginkgo tree above also opened its eyes, and when its gaze fell on the deer spirit, its branches trembled slightly. His eyes, which had just awakened, widened in shock as he looked at Lu Ling. This, such a rich life force? Lu Ling, what's going on?" In the deer spirit, it seemed to see the figure of the former spirit emperor, and even the extremely pure life aura there was more powerful than that of the spirit emperor. How could this not surprise it? The spirit emperor was once the emperor who controlled all the water spirits of the entire eastern region, and he himself possessed a rich Bai Zhe bloodline. Although Lu Ling is a descendant of the Ling emperor, the Bai Zhe bloodline she inherited is still inferior to that of the Ling emperor. Lu Ling jumped to the side of the old ginkgo tree, raised her little head, and looked very proud. "This is all thanks to the master." He then recounted the amazing features of the Pengyun merchant ship to his friends, leaving them all stunned and their eyes sparkling. "Grandpa Tree, our owner is on his way here, and will be able to move soon." After Lu Ling finished speaking, the other friends gathered around. "Dear spirit, is your master really that powerful? Can I become stronger? I also want to become stronger. I want to have great strength to protect Grandpa Tree. Then I will protect Grandpa Tree too." Everyone was so enthusiastic that after answering a few questions, Lu Ling felt dizzy. He quickly spoke up, "Everyone, please be quiet, please be quiet." Once everyone quieted down, Lu Ling breathed a sigh of relief. His gaze swept over everyone, and he whispered some words of advice. "Once you board the Pengyun merchant ship, you will all have to call it Master, just like I do." Tilting its head, it thought for a moment. Everyone should try to be well behaved. Our owner is very nice. Just be cute. Upon hearing this, the old ginkgo tree behind him smiled and shook its head. Only a simple child like Lu Ling would think that way. It knew in its heart that the owner of the Pengyun merchant ship, whom it had not yet met, must have discovered the special qualities of the deer spirits and was only able to accept them because of the deer spirits. Otherwise, why would the other party pay any attention to these creatures left behind in the eastern region? From Lu Ling's account of his experiences, it is clear how mysterious and powerful the Pengyun merchant ship was. How could we possibly take them seriously? His gaze fell on Lu Ling, and a gentle look flashed across his face. What a lucky little fellow. He's found a powerful backer for his remaining companions. The changes in Lu Ling showed that the owner of the Pengyun merchant ship treated it very well. With the little ones having someone to rely on, it can finally feel at ease. Looking out at the mountain that the ancient emperor transformed into, perhaps it should stay by the emperor's side and accompany him on the last journey of his life. Just as it was thinking this, the deer spirit appeared beside it without it noticing. "Grandpa Tree, Pengyun space is really powerful. Can you come with me? Lu Ling looked at the old ginkgo tree with tears in her eyes. Old ginkgo did not answer immediately. He stretched out a branch and stroked Lu Ling's head. You've grown up. Grandpa knows you've always been very smart. Old ginkgo naturally understood Xiaolu's personality very well. It is innocent and intelligent, but it doesn't want to grow up or shoulder the heavy responsibility of the eastern region. I believe you can take good care of them. The old ginkgo tree gazed into the distance, its voice gentle. Grandpa Tree is tired and wants to sleep beside the ancient emperor. Upon hearing this, tears streamed down Lu Ling's face. No, Grandpa Tree, you have to come with me. At that moment, the other friends also heard Lu Ling's voice and gathered around. Suddenly, a sound of crying echoed through the space. Grandpa Tree, if you don't leave, I won't leave either. The sounds of weeping rose and fell. Lu Ling looked up at the old ginkgo tree. Grandpa Tree, I will ask the master for help to move the entire secret realm into the Pengyun space. Don't. Old ginkgo quickly spoke up to stop them. It's already quite remarkable that the other party was willing to take in the creatures of the secret realm. We shouldn't force them to do so. Before it could even utter a sound to stop it, the deer spirit transformed into a white beam of light and vanished from the spot. At the summit of the mountain formed by the ancient emperor, ripples spread through the void, and the figure of the Pengyun merchant ship emerged from within them. Is this the secret realm where the deer spirit resides? Zhou Yun looked around. Looking into the void, one could see that a few fine cracks had already appeared on the outer edge of the secret realm, indicating that it could not hold out for much longer. Before Zhou Yun could observe carefully, a white streak of light rushed into his arms. Chapter 307, Taking Over the Ancient Emperor's Secret Realm. Wah! Lu Ling threw herself into Zhou Yun's arms, sobbing softly. Zhou Yun and Uncle Zhou looked at each other, neither of them understanding what was going on. He reached out and gently rubbed Lu Ling's little head, comforting her softly. What's wrong? Tell your master who bullied you, and I'll stand up for you right away. The little deer blinked and looked up at Zhou Yun. A glint of intelligence flashed in his eyes. Master, could you bring the entire ancient emperor's secret realm into the Pengyun space? This. Before Zhou Yun could finish speaking, Xiaolu interrupted him. Master, the main issue is that everyone is relatively unfamiliar with the Pengyun space. And... As she spoke, tears welled up in the little deer's eyes again. Moreover, everyone was able to survive because the ancient emperor sacrificed himself. Everyone is grateful to the ancient emperor and wants to continue to stay by his side. After she finished speaking, Xiaolu looked at Zhou Yun nervously. Zhou Yun patted the deer's head and nodded. Sure. Wow, that's great. Lu Ling broke free from Zhou Yun's embrace and jumped around happily. He nodded to Zhou Yun in a salute, then transformed into a white light and disappeared into the horizon. Master, I'm going to tell Grandpa Tree this good news. Seeing this, Zhou Yun smiled and realized that Xiaolu was probably acting with him. However, most of what the other party said was true. His gaze swept across the entire ancient emperor's secret realm, and he murmured to himself, bringing the entire secret realm into the Pengyun space, that's not a bad idea either. Hearing this, Uncle Zhou nodded in agreement. That's right, this way we don't have to find them a new place to live. Zhou Yun nodded and looked in the direction the deer had left. Let's go see Grandpa Tree, little deer. The little deer appeared beside the old ginkgo tree and excitedly called out, Grandpa Tree, Master promised that once the ancient emperor's secret realm is brought into the Pengyun space, you won't leave me. Don't do that again. The old ginkgo tree stretched out a branch and brushed against the fawn, its eyes full of satisfaction. Your master treats you very well. Be obedient and don't cause trouble in everything you do. Of course I know, my master treats me very well. The little deer's tone carried a hint of pride. The other kids gathered around, chattering excitedly. Dear Spirit, has master really agreed? Will Grandpa Tree not be separated from us then? I don't want to be separated from Grandpa Tree. Is it really possible to move the entire ancient emperor's secret realm? Lu Ling answered everyone's questions one by one, and the room was immediately filled with laughter and joy. The old ginkgo tree gazed at everything with gentle eyes. It naturally didn't want to be separated from everyone. Now everyone has someone to rely on, but it doesn't have many years left to live, and it wants to spend its last few days with its ancestor. When his lifespan was exhausted, he slept beside the ancestor and returned to the Xian cultivation world along with the ancient emperor's secret realm. Suddenly, the old ginkgo tree seemed to sense something, looked up at the sky, and saw a huge ship, more than 500 meters long, breaking through the clouds and slowly descending towards them. Pengyun merchant ships has expanded once again following Zhou Yun's advancement. Old Ginkgo's eyes narrowed slightly, his aged face filled with shock. This. Although it had never seen it before, the moment it saw the ship, it already guessed its identity as Pengyun merchant ship. The ancient emperor's secret realm, a secret realm created by a celestial-level expert using their own essence, has never been entered by any living being for millions of years, but Pengyun's space has broken in so easily. Even it was completely unaware. Looking at Lu Ling, it had just thought that Lu Ling was using the Pengyun Token to meet the owner of the Pengyun merchant ship, but now it seemed that the other party had already entered silently. The power of Pengyun merchant ship was imprinted in old Ginkgo's mind at that moment. If Zhou Yun knew what the other party was thinking, he would definitely agree. The ancient emperor's secret realm was indeed hidden. If it weren't for Lu Ling using the Pengyun Token to guide him, he really wouldn't have been able to find it so easily. It truly lives up to its reputation for being able to hide for millions of years without being discovered by any external creature. A flash of earthy yellow light appeared, and a phantom-like, aged figure materialized from the tree trunk, gazing solemnly at the Pengyun merchant ship. In comparison, the little guy below looks much more lively. They all gasped in surprise. Lu Ling, is this Master's Pengyun merchant ship? Grandpa Tree said that this is a kind of transportation created by humans from the outside world, and it is very convenient. But this ship doesn't seem very big. How can we possibly fit the ancient emperor's secret realm inside? Yes, Lu Ling. Everyone compared the size of the Pengyun merchant ship to that of the ancient emperor's secret realm, their eyes filled with confusion, and they began to ask Lu Ling questions. Lu Ling raised her little head and stamped her little hooves in place. You guys don't know this, do you? There's a whole world inside the Pengyun merchant ship. It's huge. His tone carried a hint of pride. It can hold at least 10, no, 100 ancient emperor secret realms. At this moment, the Pengyun merchant ship docked next to the old ginkgo tree. Zhou Yun and Uncle Zhou stood at the bow, smiling at everyone. Lu Ling transformed into a streak of white light and rushed towards Zhou Yun. It nuzzled Zhou Yun's hand affectionately. Master, you've finally arrived. He then turned to look at the old ginkgo tree, his tone quite cheerful. Let me introduce you, this is Grandpa Tree. Grandpa Tree, this is the Master, Zhou Yun. Zhou Yun nodded to the illusory figure that had materialized. He could naturally tell that the other party was just a body constructed from energy. The towering tree next to it is its true form. Such a massive entity would be extremely difficult to move at will. Perhaps its underground roots have already merged with the entire secret realm. At this moment, Zhou Yun seemed to understand something. Although I didn't hear their conversation, I had some guesses in my mind. No wonder this little guy wanted me to bring the entire secret realm into the Pengyun space. If this is not done, the ginkgo tree may have to remain in the secret realm. Zhou Yun just discovered that cracks have appeared on the outer perimeter of the secret realm. Thick roots coiled around the crack, supporting this secret realm that was about to collapse. The old man who had transformed from the old ginkgo tree stood up and stepped forward, bowing respectfully to Zhou Yun. Greetings, Master. Lu Ling has caused you trouble in the past. Upon hearing the way the other person addressed him, Zhou Yun's eyes flickered almost imperceptibly. With a flick of his sleeve, Zhou Yun sent an invisible force lifting up the old ginkgo tree. There's no need for that. I'm going to drag the ancient emperor's secret realm onto the Pengyun merchant ship next. Zhou Yun looked at the old ginkgo tree. Lu Ling told you about this, right? The old ginkgo tree replied, it's entirely up to the owner. Zhou Yun nodded, and immediately a faint grey mist rose from around the Pengyun merchant ship, spreading throughout the entire secret realm. The creatures below watched intently, their eyes filled with curiosity. They all wanted to know what kind of magic Pengyun merchant ship would use to hide the secret realm. Chapter 308 The Myriad Spirits Clan of the Eastern Region. Cultivators shocked. A moment later, the entire ancient emperor's secret realm disappeared before our eyes. Everyone stared wide-eyed, looking around in bewilderment, only to find that the surroundings had transformed into a chaotic void. But then, a look of panic flashed in Lu Ling's eyes. After glancing around, she moved closer to Zhou Yun. Master, where is Grandpa Tree? Your Grandpa Tree has already entered the Pengyun space, Zhou Yun said, comforting the flustered Lu Ling. He turned and looked at the other little guys. Unlike the others, the old ginkgo tree has evolved over millions of years and, in order to maintain the operation of the secret realm and reduce the consumption of its essence, has long since become one with it. He stretched out his palm and swept it across his body, revealing a crack shrouded in grey mist. Everyone, please come in with me. Although the sudden disappearance of their familiar secret place startled them, the presence of the fawn prevented the situation from spiraling out of control. It seems that the old ginkgo tree's practice of unknowingly shaping the deer spirit into a leader has had some effect. Following Zhou Yun's footsteps, the creatures of the eastern region officially moved into the Pengyun space. At this moment, within the Pengyun space, the relocation of the ancient emperor's secret realm has already attracted the attention of the cultivators. Everyone gasped in surprise as they looked at the enormous sphere of grey mist on the horizon. What is that? Strange things always appear in the Pengyun space. I don't know, that grey mist sphere seems to be merging with the Pengyun space. Those who can enter the Pengyun space must be extraordinary. Do you think that's a secret realm? Amid the murmurs, everyone's attention was focused on the grey sphere. Unbeknownst to them, a group of spirit beasts and monsters had appeared on the island in the middle of the lake. Master, is that the ancient emperor's secret realm? Lu Ling asked, looking at the grey mist sphere on the horizon. That's right. Zhou Yun stroked its head. If we throw it directly into the Pengyun space, some of the environment inside might be affected. This slow integration will not damage the ancient emperor's secret realm. Thank you, Master. Lu Ling said sincerely. The other little ones, after entering the Pengyun space, were all looking around curiously. Some of the bolder ones even approached the cultivators to examine the figures shrouded in grey mist. Look, these things look so strange. The other friends gathered around. It's really strange, it doesn't have a nose or eyes. Why are there so many grey fog monsters here? What are they? I love it here so much, just as Lu Ling said. Are we going to live here from now on? The chattering of these guys had already attracted the attention of many cultivators. Especially when they were called the grey mist monster, many people's mouths twitched. The key is that they can't get angry yet, because these guys aren't shrouded in grey mist, which means they are all beings from the Pengyun space. They are not people they can afford to mess with. So be it, a monster then. Everyone could only smile bitterly to themselves. But as they took a closer look at the group, their expressions gradually turned to shock, and many began to whisper among themselves. These guys seem to be something else. Is that the 9-leaf sword heartgrass? As everyone looked over, they saw a small plant with 9 slender sword-like leaves on its head and a sharp sword intent emanating from its body, running along its roots. Look over there, that looks like jade marrow ginseng. It is said to be able to repair one's foundation and even bring the dead back to life. Everyone looked at the spiritual ginseng that exuded a refreshing fragrance and flowed with Taoist energy, and secretly swallowed. As a spirit that has cultivated its own intelligence, the jade marrow spirit ginseng is naturally highly alert. It immediately sensed the ill-intentioned gaze and quickly ran towards Zhou Yun. When Zhou Yun looked up at the cultivators, They all wore awkward smiles and looked away. As fresh, rare and precious herbs were laid out before them, everyone's eyes shone with fervent desire, wishing they could take them all into their arms. Unfortunately, this was the Pengyun space, and they didn't even dare to extend their hands. Sigh, don't laugh at me for saying this, but I don't recognize most of those spirit beasts. Who isn't? I recognize that horse, it looks like the fire-treading spirit steed, and that tortoise, it looks like the mysterious water spirit tortoise. Among the crowd, some cultivators from the central region looked thoughtful, their knowledge naturally broader than that of people from other regions. But it is precisely because of their broad knowledge that it is even more unbelievable. Whether it's those spiritual plants or spiritual beasts, most of them have long been extinct in the Xiuxian cultivation world, let alone such rare items of such high age. Having nothing to do recently, Pengyun and Mu Jinbao, two immortal-level experts who entered the Pengyun merchant ship, swept their gazes over the many living beings, their faces thoughtful. Looking at a small bird flying in the sky, I exclaimed inwardly, "The word power lark. Its song can alter the rules on a small scale." A seemingly ordinary seven-colored koi, known as the lucky koi, possesses no fighting ability of its own, yet it is a living, auspicious creature, continuously radiating lucky energy. A giant bird with 4 wings on its back and its body crackling with lightning flew across the sky, like a giant mountain crashing down. 4-winged thunder rock. Finally, Pengyun and Mu Jinbao's gazes both fell on the white spirit deer beside Zhou Yun. If everything before couldn't prove his suspicions, then the moment he saw the white spirit deer, he was absolutely certain. The pure, natural power emanating from Lu Ling's body was even greater than that of the spirit emperor back then. These creatures come from the watery lands of the eastern region. This thought arose in their minds at the same time. These beings, which have long been extinct in the Xiuxian cultivation world but still bear some resemblance to creatures from the eastern region, must be bloodlines left over from the former eastern region. The Myriad Spirits clan doesn't seem to be doing too well these past few years. Upon seeing these young creatures, the two sighed inwardly. The strongest one should be the little deer. Judging from its aura, it's probably only at the Mahayana realm. The Wanling clan, as a remnant of the eastern region, is somewhat weak. However, they dare not underestimate them in the slightest. Now that they have been taken in by Pengyun merchant ship, with Pengyun's resources and their extraordinary talents, they will surely rise to prominence very quickly. But at the same time, he sighed inwardly, there really won't be any more of these spiritual plants and beasts in the Xiuxian cultivation world in the future. Any one of these items appearing in the Xiuxian cultivation world would trigger a fierce competition among cultivators. No wonder the eastern region was betrayed by the entire Xiuxian cultivators a million years ago. It was just too tempting. What a lucky bunch. The two felt a surge of envy. With the Pengyun merchant ship at our backs, what is there to fear in the entire Xiuxian cultivation world? Suddenly, a hand reached out from the side and went straight for Lu Ling. Ah! Startled, Lu Ling jumped back hastily, her eyes warily fixed on the person in front of her. Chapter 309 Blood Lotus. Dear Spirit, City of Desire. Who are you? What do you want to do to me? Lu Ling asked, hiding behind Zhou Yun. All eyes turned to him, secretly marveling at his audacity in doing what they dared not do. With such a plethora of mythical beasts and treasures, who wouldn't want to capture one and take it home? Zhou Yun didn't seem to care, but looked at the person in front of him with a half-smile, finding it somewhat amusing. Xiuxian's face flushed red, and his outstretched hand froze in mid-air. He had reached out instinctively, completely out of control, mainly because the aura emanating from that little deer was too alluring. He could sense that if he took it back and placed it beside Xiuxian, it would be 10 or even 100 times more effective than the power of the Buddha's and Tao's origin. Blood Lotus withdrew her hand, a sheepish smile on her face. I'm sorry, I meant no harm. Snort. Lu Ling raised its neck and gave a haughty snort. It naturally knew that this person couldn't do anything to it. After all, in the Pengyun space, other alien beings couldn't exert any strength at all. I remember how embarrassed it looked when it first came in and fell into the lake. Lu Ling shook her head, as if to prove that she was different now. Spiritual energy flowed around her, and a layer of green ripples spread from the blue antlers on her head. Everyone around took a deep breath, instantly feeling their minds clear and their bodies relaxed, and looked at Lu Ling with burning eyes. But Lu Ling seemed to enjoy the attention of everyone, walking back and forth gracefully, with flowers and plants sprouting from the soil and crowding towards her. His gaze swept over the crowd every now and then. I love your naive, country bumpkin attitude. What can you do about it? He deliberately stopped in front of Xiuxian, looked up and met his gaze. This guy's eyes are the scariest. They look like he's about to devour you. Why are you looking at me like that? Humph. Just now, this person tried to touch it, but it's not something anyone can touch. Of course, Master can. Lu Ling thought to herself, naturally nuzzling her head against Zhou Yun's palm. He would occasionally glance at the blood lotus. Zhou Yun smiled and patted Lu Ling's little head, wondering what the little guy was playing with this time. When the crowd saw Zhou Yun standing next to Lu Ling, their gazes softened considerably. Let's go see your tree, Grandpa. Just as Zhou Yun was about to lead everyone into the secret realm, Blood Lotus finally couldn't help but call out to Zhou Yun. Young Master Zhou, wait. Zhou Yun turned to look at the Blood Lotus and reached out to stroke the deer spirit. He naturally understood what the other party wanted to say, but he pretended not to know and asked, "Oh, is there anything else?" Blood Lotus pointed at deer spirit. Could we rent it for a while? Lu Ling immediately bristled. This guy was indeed up to no good. No wonder she didn't like him from the start. He answered directly, no. But then it calmed down and realized that it now had an owner, so of course the owner was in charge. Turning its head, it looked pitifully at Zhou Yun, craning its neck. Master, the little deer is so cute, you can't hand me over to outsiders. Upon seeing the deer-like creature, a soft chuckle rippled through the crowd. However, they were also curious about what purpose this person had in renting the deer. I'm even more curious to know if Zhou Yun will agree. All right. After reassuring Lu Ling, he said softly, we definitely won't rent you out. Upon hearing this, Xiuxian looked disappointed. If this white deer could be placed next to Xiao, her injuries would surely heal more quickly. Zhou Yun turned to look at the blood lotus, his indifferent voice slowly rising. You definitely can't take Lu Ling out. If anything happens to her, you can't afford to pay for it. Then the tone shifted abruptly. But if you can obtain another Pengyun Token and bring that person in, perhaps I can agree to lend you the deer spirit. Okay. Blood Lotus nodded. As long as there's a way, that's fine. This little deer is just too tempting. He can clearly sense its effect on Xiao. It is completely incomparable to the origins of Buddhism and Taoism. Suddenly, Zhou Yun thought of something and looked around at everyone. The timing is perfect. I happen to have something to announce today. Upon hearing this, everyone cast curious glances their way. This seemed to be the first time Zhou Yun, the owner of the Pengyun merchant ship, had announced something in public like this, and everyone perked up. What do you all think of Pengyun space? Don't you feel it's a bit too monotonous? The group exchanged bewildered glances, not quite understanding the meaning behind Zhou Yun's words. The Pengyun space is indeed comfortable. As long as you have enough Pengyun points, you can have all kinds of cultivation resources you need. However, it is indeed a bit monotonous. But they dared not express their true feelings. What right do they have to give feedback to Pengyun space? Taking in everyone's expressions, Zhou Yun smiled. From this day forward, this place will be officially named Peach Blossom Paradise. Before the crowd could discuss it, Zhou Yun continued. Next, we will expand the Pengyun space and open up the City of Desire. You will be able to check it out on the Pengyun Token shortly. After Zhou Yun finished speaking, he turned to look at Xiuxian. Actually, there is another way for you to bring people in. What? Blood Lotus immediately asked. The others also pricked up their ears, curious about how someone could be brought in. Entering the City of Desire will reward you with a chance to increase the number of Pengyun tokens you can carry. After saying that, Zhou Yun, along with Lu Ling, called everyone to head towards the secret realm. The remaining people immediately began to discuss among themselves. What did that mean just now? Peach Blossom Paradise, City of Desire, these seem to be two different places. I think it's best not to go to the City of Desire. The name itself doesn't sound very respectable. Sinking into desire, unable to extricate oneself. Can you suppress your curiosity? A murmur of discussion immediately arose from the crowd. Blood Lotus clenched his fists tightly. Even if that City of Desire was hell, he was determined to go in and explore it. Zhou Yun would never lie to him. He needed the qualification to carry the Pengyun Token, and he wanted to bring Lin Xiaoxiao in. That little dear. Feng Yan and Mu Jinbao, both immortal level experts, were also shocked. They hadn't expected that they would hear such important things when they just came in for a casual stroll. This is bound to be a major change for Pengyun merchant ship. It was even given a separate name to distinguish it from the current Pengyun space. They were also very curious about the soon-to-be disappeared City of Desire. If even they are like this, then what about the other ordinary cultivators? On the other side, after Zhou Yun brought the creatures of the eastern region into the secret realm, he stood beside the old ginkgo tree. During this period, the secret realm will slowly integrate into the Pengyun space. This process will also sort out your huge root system, which will greatly reduce your burden. Yes, thank you, Master. Old Ginkgo had already sensed the subtle changes in her body. After being cleansed by the Pengyun space, the already aging body seemed to be gradually relieved of its burdens. Yes, take a good rest for a while, Zhou Yun comforted him softly. This ancient ginkgo tree, which has supported the entire secret realm for millions of years, can finally relax at this moment. Chapter 310 The Aura of Desire, the Tower of Desire. At this moment, the many cultivators in the Pengyun space were still discussing the impact of the changes to the Pengyun merchant ship. A shout came from the crowd. Look everyone, there's a change on the Pengyun token. Upon hearing this, everyone took out their Pengyun tokens, and after inputting their spiritual power, 2 Pengyun patterns, one white and one black, appeared on them. The moment they saw the pattern, everyone already had a guess in their minds. Many people hesitated as they looked at the black Pengyun pattern, their hearts filled with uncertainty. Meanwhile, Zhou Yun, along with Uncle Zhou and Yuan Shi, appeared in the City of Desire. After looking around, he built a black stone house in front of the black tower, with only a simple counter and a chair. He turned to Uncle Zhou and said, Uncle Zhou, I'll have to trouble you to explain the rules to the cultivators who are coming in. This is all I should do, Uncle Zhou replied gladly, then walked towards the black stone house to await the arrival of the cultivators. As for the rules here, the young master had already explained them to him clearly. Beside her, Yuan Shi asked curiously, Master, what do I need to do? What you need to do is very simple, just follow me. After Zhou Yun finished speaking, he led Yuan Shi directly to the top floor of the Black Tower. There is only a simple space here. This will be your living quarters from now on. You can decorate it yourself when you have free time. Okay. Yuan Shi replied with a smile. She happily looked around her room, which belonged to her. She had always stayed with Sister Yu Tong before, so of course she wanted to have her own space in the Pengyun space. After calming down, Yuan Shi looked at Zhou Yun. The master must have had his own purpose in bringing her here. Zhou Yun walked to the edge of the window and looked out at the grey fog-filled space. Since this place is called the City of Desire, how could it not be filled with the aura of desire? His eyes flashed, and a detached tone rang out. There's only one thing you need to do. Zhou Yun's gaze fell on Yuan Shi. Transform the energy of desire and spread it throughout the entire space. That shouldn't be difficult for you. Upon hearing this, Yuan Shi was slightly taken aback, but still nodded hesitantly. She was naturally aware of her own physical condition. At the moment of awakening, the relevant inherited memories appeared in the mind. However, the energy of desire has a great influence on cultivators, and it is easy for cultivators to develop obsessions and give birth to inner demons. But these were her master's orders, so of course she had to do them. She looked out at the vast space and asked, "Master, what should the concentration of desire energy be in each area?" The area is divided into an inner and outer perimeter, with the Black Tower at its center. And within the Black Tower's core, the aura of desire increases with each floor. Zhou Yun waved his hand. "You don't need to worry about these things. I've already set them up. You'll sense it when the energy of desire in a region reaches the required level." "Yes," she replied softly. Since her master had said so, she naturally had no further questions. "Then you can familiarize yourself with it first. I'll be going now." Before she could react, Zhou Yun's figure had already disappeared. Immediately afterwards, she went to the window, and wisps of grey mist flowed into her body, her palms shimmering with spiritual light. Wisps of faint seven-colored mist rose up and merged into the space, as if they had never existed. Zhou Yun, who had just left, turned back to look at the Black Tower, a smile appearing in his eyes. What a hard-working little girl. The City of Desire is slowly undergoing a transformation at this moment. With Yuanxi's help, he was indeed saved a lot of trouble. Originally, obtaining the energy of desire would not have been so simple, and the City of Desire would not have become so perfect. Yuanxi's origin Holy Spirit body, with its powerful transformation ability, perfectly complements the shortcomings of the City of Desire. At the same time, cultivators began to emerge from the altar of the City of Desire. Many people were shocked when they saw the huge, dimly lit space. They had originally thought that the so-called City of Desire was just on the other side of the Peach Blossom Paradise, but this dimly lit environment was clearly not what they had imagined. Whispers arose from the crowd. "Is this the City of Desire? It certainly gives off a unique sense of oppression. Where exactly are we? Are we still on the Pengyun merchant ship? They should be here, right? Where is anyone? Let's go take a look." Many people spotted Uncle Zhou and their eyes lit up. The group was very familiar with the old man who had always been by Zhou Yun's side. Seeing a familiar face in this unfamiliar environment immediately perked them up. In their view, this was a space specially modified by Pengyun merchant ship, and it must contain great opportunities. Seeing the giant tower standing beside him, hidden in the grey mist, filled him with even greater excitement. The same thought simultaneously flashed through their minds: Exchange Tower. The Exchange Tower in the Pengyun space had left a very deep impression on them in the past, and this huge black tower must also have something extraordinary about it. One by one, everyone walked up to Uncle Zhou's side, and Uncle Zhou raised his hand. "Fellow Taoists, please wait a moment while I introduce them together." No one was in a hurry, and they all suppressed their curiosity and whispered among themselves. Among the crowd, Feng Yan and Mu Jinbao, two immortal-level experts, frowned slightly as they examined the grey mist drifting in the air, a strange feeling rising in their hearts. This place might not be as simple as it seems. Their gazes turned to the old man in front of them, and they could only wait for him to answer their questions. It can only be said that she is indeed a celestial-level expert. The amount of desire energy that Yuanxi transformed was extremely thin, and it could be said to be extremely weak compared to the vast space. Even so, it still touched their hearts. After a moment, Uncle Zhou glanced at everyone and nodded with a smile. "Welcome, fellow Taoists. The City of Desire is very free. Here I will only say two things." Upon hearing this, everyone perked up, not only out of curiosity but also because they were determined to remember the rules of the Pengyun merchant ship. As owners of the Pengyun Token, they naturally understand the Pengyun merchant ship better than ordinary cultivators. If they violate the rules set by the Pengyun merchant ship, their fate will be extremely tragic. Thinking of this, everyone couldn't help but shudder. Uncle Zhou, of course, had no idea what everyone was thinking, and pointed to the black giant tower to the side. The Tower of Desire, the place where opportunities lie, is also the only place that Pengyun merchant ship is responsible for. Upon hearing this, everyone frowned and looked at Uncle Zhou with suspicion. Solely responsible? Such a vast space, doesn't the rest fall under the jurisdiction of Pengyun merchant ship? Then Uncle Zhou answered their questions. Uncle Zhou looked outside. Pengyun merchant ships are not responsible for anything outside the Black Tower. You can open your own shops and earn Pengyun points. As for the scope of business, Pengyun merchant ships will not interfere.